In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, nestled deep within a dense forest, lay the forgotten village of Shadowbrook. For centuries, it had remained hidden from the world, its existence known only to a few who dared to venture into its dark and forbidding depths. Legend spoke of a curse that had befallen the village long ago, casting a shadow over its inhabitants and trapping them in a never-ending nightmare. Those who dared to enter its borders were said to never return, their souls claimed by the darkness that lurked within. But despite the warnings, a group of intrepid adventurers, drawn by tales of treasure and adventure, set out to explore the mysteries of Shadowbrook. Among them were Marcus, a seasoned explorer with a thirst for knowledge and a sense of adventure that knew no bounds. Emily, a brilliant archaeologist whose passion for uncovering the secrets of the past rivaled Marcus's own. Jackson, a skilled tracker and survivalist whose knowledge of the wilderness would prove invaluable on their journey. And Sarah, a skeptic by nature, whose scientific mind sought to find rational explanations for the legends that surrounded Shadowbrook. Together, they ventured into the heart of the forest, their minds filled with visions of untold riches and lost civilizations waiting to be discovered. Chapter 2: Into the Unknown. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, the air grew thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl in the distance. The trees seemed to loom overhead like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out to snatch at the unwary traveler. But despite the eerie atmosphere, the adventurers pressed on, driven by a sense of excitement and anticipation that burned within their hearts. For they knew that they were on the cusp of uncovering something truly extraordinary, the secrets of Shadowbrook, hidden for centuries beneath layers of myth and legend. At last, they emerged into a clearing, where the village of Shadowbrook lay before them, its crumbling buildings and overgrown streets shrouded in a blanket of mist. The air seemed to crackle with a strange energy, as if the very earth itself pulsed with a hidden power. Chapter 3: Whispers in the Dark. From the moment they set foot in Shadowbrook, the adventurers sensed that something was amiss. The village seemed frozen in time, its buildings untouched by the passage of centuries, as if trapped in a perpetual state of decay. But it was not until night fell that the true horror of Shadowbrook revealed itself. As the adventurers huddled together in the darkness, they heard whispers, faint at first, but growing steadily louder with each passing moment. The whispers spoke of ancient curses and vengeful spirits, of unspeakable horrors that lurked in the shadows, waiting to claim their souls. And as the night wore on, the adventurers realized with a mounting sense of dread that they were not alone in Shadowbrook. Something sinister was watching them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Chapter 4: The Curse Unleashed. It was on the third night of their stay in Shadowbrook that the curse was unleashed in all its fury. As the adventurers slept fitfully in their beds, they were plagued by nightmares of visions of grotesque creatures and tortured souls that seemed to seep into their very minds, twisting their thoughts and desires into something dark and malevolent. When they awoke, they found the village in chaos. Buildings lay in ruins, their walls scorched by fire and their windows shattered by some unseen force. The villagers, driven mad by fear and despair, roamed the streets like lost souls, their eyes vacant and their voices filled with anguish. And amidst the chaos, the adventurers realized with a sinking heart that they were trapped in Shadowbrook, bound by the curse that now held them in its thrall. Chapter 5: Unraveling the Mystery. Determined to uncover the truth behind the curse that had befallen Shadowbrook, the adventurers set out to explore the village, searching for clues amidst the wreckage and devastation that surrounded them. Their journey led them deep into the heart of the village, where they discovered a hidden chamber beneath the ruins of an ancient temple. Within its walls, they found evidence of a dark ritual, symbols etched into the stone floor, candles still burning with an otherworldly flame, and a sense of palpable dread that hung heavy in the air. As they delved deeper into the chamber, they uncovered the true extent of the curse that had plagued the village for centuries. Centuries ago, a group of villagers had made a pact with a malevolent entity, seeking to gain power and wealth at any cost. But their greed had unleashed a curse that had plagued the village ever since, trapping its inhabitants in a never-ending cycle of suffering and despair. Chapter 6: confronting the darkness. Armed with the knowledge they had gleaned from their investigation, the adventurers prepared to confront the source of the curse and put an end to its reign of terror once and for all. Their journey led them to a hidden grove deep within the forest, where they found the creature that lay at the heart of Shadowbrook, a grotesque abomination of flesh and bone, its eyes burning with an unholy fire. With a sense of grim determination, the adventurers prepared to face the creature in battle, knowing that their lives hung in the balance. As the creature lunged at them with clawed hands and gnashing teeth, they fought with all their strength, their weapons flashing in the moonlight as they struck blow after blow against their monstrous foe. Chapter 7: Redemption or Damnation. In the end, it was not strength of arms that saved the adventurers from the curse that had plagued Shadowbrook, but the power of their own humanity, their ability to confront their fears and overcome the darkness that lurked within their own hearts. As the creature lay defeated at their feet, the curse that had held the village in its grip for so long began to unravel, its malevolent influence fading into the ether like a bad dream. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the adventurers emerged from the darkness of Shadowbrook, their hearts heavy with the weight of all they had endured. But though the scars of their ordeal would never fully heal, they knew that they had emerged from the shadows stronger than before, ready to face whatever horrors the future might hold. Chapter 8: Echoes of Despair. Despite their victory over the cursed creature, the adventurers found no solace in the aftermath of the battle. The village of Shadowbrook still lay in ruins around them, its streets littered with debris and its buildings blackened by fire. As they surveyed the destruction, a sense of despair washed over them, threatening to drown their hopes of ever escaping the nightmare that had become their reality. But amidst the wreckage, they also found glimmers of hope, small signs that life still clung to the village, waiting to be reclaimed from the darkness that had consumed it. Marcus, ever the optimist, refused to give in to despair. With unwavering determination, he rallied the group, urging them to press on despite the odds stacked against them. "We've come too far to give up now," he declared, his voice echoing with a fierce resolve that stirred something deep within each of them. And so, with renewed purpose, the adventurers set out to rebuild Shadowbrook, determined to restore it to its former glory and put an end to the curse that had plagued it for so long. Chapter 9: Rebuilding Hope. With Marcus leading the way, the adventurers began the arduous task of rebuilding Shadowbrook from the ground up. They cleared away the debris that littered the streets, salvaging what they could from the wreckage of the village's once thriving buildings. As they worked, they were joined by the villagers, those who had managed to escape the curse's grasp and return to their homes. Though weary and broken, they lent their strength to the task at hand, their spirits buoyed by the hope of reclaiming their lives from the darkness that had threatened to consume them. Together, they rebuilt the village, brick by brick and stone by stone, their efforts fueled by a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. And as the days turned into weeks, Shadowbrook began to rise from the ashes, its streets bustling once more with the sounds of life and laughter. Chapter 10: A New Dawn. As the last of the village's buildings were restored to their former glory, a sense of peace descended upon Shadowbrook, banishing the lingering echoes of despair that had plagued it for so long. The adventurers stood together in the village square, their eyes filled with pride as they surveyed the fruits of their labor. Marcus clapped Jackson on the shoulder, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with a quiet satisfaction. "We saved Shadowbrook."